Imagine that everything you understand as real is nothing more than the thinnest surface of something far greater, far deeper, and far stranger than the human mind could ever grasp. I'm not talking about the classic idea that we're living in a simulation, as if we were characters inside some cosmic video game. That idea is shallow. That's what you think when you look out the window of an airplane and believe you're seeing the entire world, when in reality, you're only witnessing a shadow. What hides beneath that surface, what truly sustains this layer we call reality is so ancient, so immeasurably vast, and so indifferent to our existence, that even trying to understand it is enough to dismantle any sense of logic, identity, or meaning. But let's try anyway. Start by listening to your own thoughts. That voice, reading these words inside your head right now. You believe that voice is yours. You believe it's in control. But what if it isn't? What if that voice is just an echo, a vibration of something that exists far beyond human perception? Like a distorted reflection, projected only to keep you functioning inside this simpler, softer, more limited layer of what is real. That's where the true discomfort begins. What if the simulation theory is just a defense mechanism, a metaphor the human mind created to cope with the increasing sense that something is watching, something containing, something holding the edges of this structure we call the universe, something so deep that if allowed to fully reveal itself, it would drag human consciousness like a small boat swallowed by a massive wave in the middle of the night. Think about that. Everything we call physics, chemistry, biology, consciousness, every law, every system could be nothing more than the basic rule set of the first level, the surface, the tutorial, the safe zone. As if we were confined to the most accessible point of an infinite ocean of existence, precisely because we are incapable of surviving the rest. And as we advance, as we discover, as we break boundaries, we begin to scratch the glass wall of this outer layer. We notice anomalies, glitches, coincidences too absurd to be coincidences. Mathematical whispers, hiding inside the structure of everything. And what if these whispers aren't errors? What if they are messages? Messages coming from deeper layers, trying slowly to be perceived. Humans have always seen patterns where they shouldn't. Shapes in fire, shadows in caves, faces in broken statues, gods in the clouds. We call this pareidolia. But what if it isn't pareidolia? What if it's limited perception? What if you're not imagining a face at all but recognizing a real one, only seen through a highly compressed layer of information? Like a nearsighted person trying to identify a distant figure without glasses. And that leads to something even more unsettling. If this reality is just the simplest layer, what lies beneath it? Maybe something that doesn't need matter. Something that doesn't depend on linear time. Something that doesn't conceive of individual lives. Something that doesn't operate through cause and effect. Something that doesn't think, doesn't feel, doesn't judge. Something that simply is. What if consciousness emerges from the friction between these layers? Like heat generated when two surfaces rub together. Human consciousness would be nothing more than a side effect, not a purpose, a spark, foam forming at the edge of an eternal sea. When you look at the night sky, you believe you're seeing stars. But what if you're only seeing pixels? Points on a projected map, cracks in this outer layer. And what if some of the deepest human experiences, déjà vu, intuition, lucid dreams, visions, memory flashes of things that never happened are glitches, leaks, moments when the walls weaken and fragments of older, denser, truer layers seep in for just a few seconds? What if our ancestors, who claimed to see spirits, beings, creatures, or messengers, weren't hallucinating? What if they were simply accessing a less stabilized region of this layer? What if they were seeing through the curtain? Now consider coincidences. Certain numbers, symbols, and patterns. They insist on returning, like signatures, like cracks. Like the universe trying to communicate something through a channel so compressed that it reaches us as superstition. And here comes the most disturbing point. What if we're being kept in this layer for protection? Not because we were created here, but because we were moved here. Humanity might have been pulled out of another layer, perhaps a much deeper one, and placed in this softer surface, so we wouldn't access a truth we can't survive. Just as you pull a child away from a burning room, just as you hide the smell of something dead, so they won't see it. And what if all our existential emptiness, our unexplained anxiety, our sense of displacement, dreams of places we've never been, memories that aren't ours, our trauma from the transition, fragments of places where we're not supposed to go back? Now the real question forms. If this isn't the true simulation, then what is simulating this layer, and why? We're not talking about computers, we're not talking about superior beings watching us, we're not talking about technology. We're talking about structures beyond comprehension. Layers of existence, without shape, without color, without space. And yet they sustain everything. Imagine an onion with infinite layers, each one deeper, denser, and more real than the last. We are on the outer shell, the skin, the part you peel off and throw away, because it's the only layer beings, like us, can withstand, without collapsing. All of humanity's mystical experiences, meditation, psychedelics, near-death experiences, ancient rituals, are just desperate attempts to cross even a millimeter of this barrier. Some work, some destroy, some reveal too much, others shut down immediately, as if we violated a rule. What if humanity's deepest fear, the fear of the unknown's not psychological at all? What if it's instinct? What if it's a memory, carried from the last time we touched something deeper, and couldn't survive what we saw? And now comes something even larger. What if every human feels, at least once in life, that sensation that something is off, something doesn't fit, reality feels incomplete? Because this layer is cracking. Because something beneath it is starting to leak through again. If simulations are just the shallowest part, then whatever is watching from below, whatever shapes the lower layers, is not a creator, not a manager, not a judge, not a god. It is simply the real, and the real might be something we should never meet. But the final question, the one everyone avoids, the one no philosopher answers without trembling, is this. If we discovered the truth, could humanity survive it, or would we collapse like corrupted files? Maybe that's why no one reaches the bottom. Maybe that's why some answers feel forbidden. Maybe that's why, when we get too close, we feel vertigo. We feel watched. We feel something staring back at us from inside the dark. Maybe it's because this outer layer is still trying to protect us. But what if just for a moment it fails? What would you do if the real appeared right in front of you? Think about it. And if you want me to go even deeper into this kind of topic, leave a comment below. Subscribe for more videos like this. And don't forget to like, because it helps keep this journey alive. Even if reality itself doesn't care whether we survive it.